and a deeply sincere welcome to Open Heart Harbor. I am Jordan, and I am so grateful that you've navigated the strong currents and made it safely to port. This is your sanctuary, a place to quiet the outside world. So I invite you to come on in, drop your burdens, and get comfortable. I invite you to take a deep, clearing breath with me. And as you exhale, let the exhaustion of chasing and worrying, let the busyness of life fade away. I invite you to drop your spiritual anchor right here, allowing yourself this moment of stillness, a quietness that isn't just the absence of noise, but the presence of peace. This harbor is the place where boundaries meet boundlessness, dropping our anchors and finding emotional freedom. Now, let's dive into today's essential lesson. Every year, gardeners around the world invest their time, their resources, their energy into purchasing or harvesting seeds, only to turn around and throw them into the dirt. To some, this may look like a waste or a loss, but to the gardener, however, releasing those seeds into the dark, damp earth isn't a loss, but an act of radical faith. It's the understanding that the seed cannot fulfill its destiny in a packet or even on a plant. It must be released into the world, into the fertile soil, in order to recognize its full potential. Faith requires release. When we look at the word faith through a Western lens, it comes from the Latin root word fidere, meaning to trust. In our modern world, we've reduced this to a mental concept of approving something as truth, even when we lack complete evidence. But in Aramaic, the word for faith is Hymnwta. In the Eastern world, faith isn't just an opinion you hold in your head. It is a firm foundation that allows you to stand. It's the sense of inner support that keeps your house upright when the winds of the world are howling. It is the difference between thinking that the harbor is safe and actually dropping your anchor in its floor. A Course in Miracles tells us in chapter 21 that it's impossible for a child of God to lack faith. We are individuous, the root word from which individuals comes, and it means to not be divisible from our source, our power. Therefore, we cannot lose faith. We only choose where it lies. What we often call faithlessness is actually faith in falsehoods. While we may not have faith in our divine nature, we may instead place our faith in, or be clenching our fist around false anchors: money, the government, our jobs, titles. While we may feel powerless in these moments, faith in falsehoods does not lack power. It simply redirects our power towards shores that cannot hold us. What we believe, we give our power to. So to move towards the harbor, we don't need to find faith. We simply need to redirect the faith that we have, redirect the faith that's already within us. So faith moves through our lives in three distinct phases, okay? The seed, the sowing, and the shield. One, the seed is internal. Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the actual raw material of the unseen world. And scientifically, about 95% of the universe is made of unseen dark matter and dark energy. Faith is simply the recognition of the majority of our reality. Within each of us is a Christ seed. In Aramaic, the word Christ, Mshika, literally means the anointed one. No, it is not Jesus' last name. It's not just a title. It is a state of being. Anointing in the ancient world was done with oil to protect and to heal. And when we speak of the Christ consciousness as a seed, we are speaking of the divine potential, of the blueprint latently existing within the soil of our humanity. And like a seed produces of its kind, we each have different gifts specific to our soul's purpose. 2, the sowing, which is external. The sowing is the power of faith in action. It isn't about the size of the seed. Look at a mustard seed. But it's in its natural ability to expand, to grow. We walk in faith by trusting our divine inner knowing as opposed to our external senses. It's the process of looking past appearances to the divine truth, the eternal truth. And just as the gardener must plant their seed to prove their faith, our internal realization must also manifest into physical action. 3, the shield, protection. Finally, our faith sanctifies us. It sets us apart from the world, specifically for sacred use. It provides a shield that isn't a wall, but a frequency that neutralizes the outside noise, like a white noise machine. And like the anointing oil heals and protects, our faith does the same thing. When we're anchored in the harbor, the storm doesn't stop. The bills are still due. The conflict may still exist. The struggle may still be real. But because our internal radio is tuned to the frequency of the harbor, the lower frequencies of chaos have nothing to resonate with within us. Chaos no longer has the same power over us. Where love is the absence of fear, not the opposite, but the absence of fear, faith is the antidote to fear and the bridge to love. Faith is more than just a static belief. It's the recognition of our divine oneness, our divine nature. It's the substance that governs our reality, an anchor that provides an unshakable foundation in the midst of life's storms. So as we navigate this week, I invite you to practice the 3 phases of faith in your daily life. Just as the gardener doesn't just believe in the harvest, he actively works the soil. We must move our faith from a mental concept into a physical reality. So, are you ready? Tier 1, the seed. Remember, that's internal awareness. So every morning, before you check your phone or engage with the world's noise, spend just 10 minutes in the silence. Whether that's reading, sitting with yourself, 10 minutes in the harbor of the heart. Find your pulse by placing your hand over your heart, on the side of your wrist, on the side of your neck. Remind yourself that the life that moves your blood is the same life that moves the sap of the trees. Take this time to recognize the 95% of reality that is unseen, the Christ seed within, before the 5% of the visible world takes over you. 2, the sowing, which is the external alignment. Identify one false anchor that you are currently clenching your fist around. It could be a specific outcome at work. It could be a conflict with a loved one or a coworker. It could be a financial worry. And when you begin to feel the tension of trying to make it happen, take a deep breath. Physically open your hand and visualize yourself pressing that concern into the dark, rich soil of the divine, affirming to yourself, I release my attachment to the outcome, knowing that the universe is the ultimate gardener. 3, the shield, protection of frequency. Practice frequency tuning during your commute or while doing chores. Imagine your faith as an anointing oil that coats your mind. And when you encounter negativity or chaos, visualize it sliding off this oil without sticking, without resistance. Realize that your internal stability, your harbor, is not dependent on the external weather or the external conditions. The storm doesn't have to stop for you to be at peace. I invite you to open your hands in front of you and close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a few deep breaths as you inhale. Visualize the substance of faith, that raw material of the unseen, filling your lungs and entering your bloodstream. As you exhale, feel your feet rooting deeper into the earth beneath you, becoming a firm foundation, affirming to yourself, I am the conscious recognition of divine oneness. My faith is not a reach for what is missing, but the realization of what is already here. I move from the struggle to the flow, and so it is. As you weigh anchor and prepare to head back out into the world, remember that your stillness that you found here remains with you. May the disciplines of faith, wisdom, and love ignite your divine spark today, allowing your light to catch and your fire to grow. You are a harbor of peace for all that you encounter. And if this message pricked your heart today, I invite you to join our community in the harbor by subscribing and sharing the light with another. Stay anchored in the divine, and until next time, be still and know. I'll keep the lights on for you here at the harbor.